Welcome back to the Leicester City Women's Wrap-Up Show. As usual, James is with us. James, how are you?
Yeah, not too bad yourself.
I'm pretty good, thank you. And like every single show, I say we have a super special guest, but I think we have our specialist guest. I don't think Emil is going to be happy hearing that, considering he came on the show not long ago. But we've got Ash joining us. Ash, how are you?
Yeah, good, thank you. Yeah, I'll be rubbing that in Emil's face for sure.
Yeah, you should. You should. And then he'll never want to come on again. That'd be perfect. You're back. It's been quite a while since we last spoke to you, and a lot has happened with you. I'm looking
Yeah,
forward to catching up.
yeah, definitely. I feel like it's been, the last time we caught up was, it's going to be a completely different chat in the sense of in the time that we're in now compared to what we were in before, but all exciting stuff, to be honest.
I guess the last time we spoke was like the day or two before your guys' game against London City to win you guys promotion.
Yeah,
And you won
yeah,
promotion and now you're in the WSL.
yeah, that is crazy. This made me realize how fast it's gone.
Mm-hmm. It feels like a year ago, but it's not.
Yeah.
We're getting there though. So how does it feel being in the WSL?
Yeah. Yeah, honestly, it's just a great experience for me at the minute. Sorry, I've got technical difficulties in my sister's room. Yeah, so it's obviously going. Last time I spoke to you, we were in the championship, and obviously had a successful season. Going into WSL, it's a completely different experience for us, and obviously from the results, everyone can see that we're still learning and trying to get a grip of what this league is all about. I think now we're gelling a lot more as a team, and to be honest, do you know what would be good if nobody likes a pre-season, but in a sense, I feel like a longer. Not that I'm asking for a longer preseason. I wouldn't, but I just think the way that our games have gone and we've got better and better as each game. It's not like we've had a game and everybody's like, okay, yeah, they're way out of their depth because we've got better and better and we can compete with teams. But it's like, oh, if only now we could, with the level we're at now, be almost like playing the games we had at the start of the season again, because I think that'd be a little bit of a different story. But obviously you don't want to look back on things like that. At the end of the day, you can just appreciate the experience, and from now on we have a set goal in mind, is just to stay in this league, and then when it comes to the end of this season and going on to next season, it will be what we can achieve next season once we have the foundation of being a solid team in this league.
I think for me, actually, do you not pinch yourself and think, "Wow, I'm a WSL player"? It must be one of the things that it's probably things that you thought you wanted to do, but never knew if you got the chance. But now you're there, it must be a really proud moment for you.
I think this is actually something I'm quite bad at, because when I'm in something, not that I find it hard to like appreciate, I just get so absorbed in it that I'll be focused on what the task is. So I knew when I signed for Leicester, so it's coming up to almost 2 years now, that I wanted to help get this team promoted to the WSL. And now to think that I'm in it, it's hard to kind of reflect on, because in football everything happens so quickly. So it's, for me, I only got to stop and reflect and appreciate really like my time at Leicester when we won the league and we had the time off after obviously finishing the league last season. But other than that, like now I'm in the WSL, it's like until I have conversations like this, I don't really think about the fact that I'm here. And I think it's really random, to be honest, like the times I think about what I do and how lucky I am. Like actually I had one reflective moment. I'm quite a reflective person, but I had one moment today. I was picking my sister up from school and I was just sat in the car park watching all these kids just swarm out of school, like so many of them. And I was thinking how many of these kids have, in school when they say like, what do you want to be when you're older? And they all have those aspirations of having a certain job. And there's actually so few of those positions for all those kids, and I think the number of kids who probably want to be a professional, not a professional footballer, but a professional athlete or something similar. And how many actually are able to do it? Because sometimes we say it's down to hard work and everything, but sometimes it's down to luck, in a sense of you get the opportunities that are there, and there you have the accessibility and things like that. So I was quite, not emotional, but it was quite nice to just sit in the car park today and just think about that, because like I said, it's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day, but it's what really, like, we can get bogged down in results and things like that, but at the end of the day we have nothing to feel sorry for ourselves about. I'm talking about the team as a collective at the minute, because we are in a great position right now, and all we can do is fight, because there's so many people who, even if they were losing every game, they'll still love to be in the position that we're in. So I think we have a responsibility and a duty, in a sense, to keep representing the badge as well as we can, and start getting the points we deserve, because Man United was a great game for us to be like, what, we can do it. And that's coming off a week of interim manager, the Morgan family, who've been so involved with the club for so long, leaving. That's had like an emotional impact on everybody. And then now with Lydia and Brent coming in, bit of a whirlwind, but in spite of all that, we can go and get a result against a top team. Who knows what's next, really? Again, you've got to expect this from me. I go on a tangent. I don't even know. I can't even remember what the question was, to be honest. Oh, about being a WSL player. But yeah, sorry.
It's perfect. Don't apologize.
One thing we were going to touch at Sunday's game. I was at the game. It was an unbelievable performance. It was probably a fighting performance that we knew was coming this season. You all played so well together. To keep people like Ella Toon quiet throughout the whole game is unbelievable. They had very few chances. I thought we could possibly have scored more. But as a whole, it was just great to see everyone fighting for each other. And that team spirit was just unbelievable. And it was such a great win. Although it was a bit cold for us, but it was still a great win.
Yeah, gosh, I can't imagine. We're freezing and we're running around. I can't imagine what it's like sitting in the stands. But yeah, it's it was great. And I know some people say this, but I genuinely mean it. Like, we get to play and everything like that. But I think personally, and I'm not speaking for everybody, I think, I don't want you to take this like I'm only saying this because I'm on your show, but I play for a reason other than just playing. And I know, like, the likes of you guys who are so devoted to the team, it's hard. As much as it's hard for you, I personally take it hard when we get bad results, because you guys still come out, support, and we want to get results for the fans as much as ourselves, because at the end of the day, this is a club that we all care about and we all want to represent well. So, it's nice that we finally did get, I know there weren't loads of supporters there, but it was nice to be able to get that result with some of you guys there, and actually almost be like, do you know what, we've done something, there's still something to believe in at the minute, because obviously it's hard. You go through so many games not getting results that, fans as well can be like, well, it's tough. When you're a fan and you care about something, it's hard. You take it hard as much as we do. But yeah, very much appreciated, especially sitting in that cold weather.
How cold was it?
I think it wasn't that cold. There was just a really strong wind in the stadium.
The wind is the killer.
Yeah, it's the wind that gets you.
One thing we did discuss this season was how, because obviously there was no crowds last season, how can we kind of generate a noise? And then we had this great idea, is we need a drum. And then lo and behold, the next game, somebody's sister turned up with a drum and was unbelievable. And I think Hannah was watching on the stream, and even she heard it. So
I sent Joe and James a message. I was like, did someone get a drum finally? And they're like, it's Ash's sister.
It
was awesome. I loved it.
She was so nervous to do it, and the only reason that she actually said that she'd do it is because I said I'll give her money for it, which I haven't even given her yet. I think she's happy about it. I said I'll pay her to do it if she actually does it, but she gets so shy. But apparently, she said at the Everton game when she took it, she was like, I wanted to be away from everybody because I didn't want it to hurt people's ears. I'm like, come on, you're gonna be a musician, you can't really care about that.
It was her first paid gig and she didn't get paid.
Yeah. Shh, don't tell her.
That's amazing though.
But it was just amazing that even a simple thing as a drum got the crowd all singing and created that atmosphere, and we think it was brilliant. So amazing thanks to your sister for bringing a drum.
Yeah, she'll love that. Well, you know what, the more I say to her about people liking it, the more that it will encourage her to do it again. So I'll keep on her.
She's gonna have to go to every single game now. If I don't hear her on the stream, then she's not loud enough.
She's actually coming on Sunday to the Arsenal game, and it's a late one because she's got school the next day. But I can't imagine she'll be bringing a drum down there. But yeah, she doesn't even like football, but she's coming, which is nice.
She doesn't like it, but she's supporting you, so it's good.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I was so disappointed that the game wasn't shown on Sunday. Especially like I woke up at 3:30 and Joe and James didn't tell me about until 1:45 kickoff. They're like, the game's not being shown. Why are you up? And I was like, it's not. I was so mad. And then obviously I just passed right back out. And then I wake up and I see that you guys won on penalties. I was like, oh my God, I slept through the Twitter notifications for this. I was so mad at myself, but I'm just mad at the FA player too. I don't get why they don't show everything, especially when you guys are facing United. That's a huge game.
Yeah, it just means we've got to do it again.
Exactly, you got to do it again. Yeah, that way I can see it. Not just through highlights. It's not the same when you're watching a replay or highlights. It's just not.
No. Yeah, I say that to my grandma because my grandma watches the games as well live on the FA play, and she was like, because sometimes she works nights, so sometimes she'll be sleeping during the day and things like that. I'm like, Grandma, just go to sleep. You can watch the game after. She's like, no, I've got to watch it live. I can't watch it after because then I'll find out the score. I'm like, okay.
Exactly. We're on the same page.
Yeah.
I know people who will record games and they'll be like, don't tell me the score or anything that happened. I'm going to watch it later. I'm like, no, it's not the same because you know that it's already happened. It's just weird. But speaking of United, I just have to say, Abby McManus, a former United player, you two at the back, your link up together, it's beautiful. It's so good. You guys keep anything and everything out. And every week we're just, especially in that Chelsea game, it was, oh my God, so good.
Yeah, do you know what? I have to, it's funny, recently as well, and I told Abby this, she in that game for me was unbelievable because she's a great player and she's experienced, but I look up to her a lot. She's obviously about 5 years older than me, obviously playing the same position, and in training people don't talk about it a lot, but in training she knows the game inside out. Her soccer IQ is brilliant and you can tell how passionate she is, but she's not just giving me information tactically. Sunday, I've got to be honest, it was emotional for me. It was hard. That game was probably one of the hardest games I've had to play through, just because it wasn't until Sunday as I was getting ready for the game. It hadn't bothered me before, but I was getting ready and I burst into tears in the changing room before I went out, and then I was crying throughout the warm. I actually went out onto the pitch with my mask on, forgetting I had it on because I wanted to hide my face. But yeah, it felt odd because obviously I think people know already, but yes, I'm close to the Morgans, but Holly is my best friend, so yes, we separate football and friendship, but I think that was the first time in football where she wasn't there to do our defensive warm-up. She'll do a few touches with me before a game or things like that. It was the first time I'm like, wow, she's actually not here anymore. So I think I just kind of got through training, got through the week, and it was good. And I thought I'm like, do you know what, this is my job. I'm not going to get too emotional about it. But then all of a sudden Sunday I did. And then Abby, throughout the whole game, she said to me before the game, she kept coming to me, giving me a high five, saying, we've got you. And I couldn't shake it off. I could not shake off my emotions. I don't know why. And throughout the game, she would just like even little subtle things, that sort of thing, like a high five or a "we've got your back." And then afterwards, when we won, she came, gave me a hug, and she was like, "That one was for Holly." And then I burst into tears again. It's just, it's more than just, I say this all the time, but it's more than just football, and this is a club that has, it's results driven for sure. I understand. I'm never somebody who's going to be like putting personal preferences over a team, never. But I think that was the first time where it hit me. I'm like, there are certain people, whether in life or for me, and it happened to be in football, where I met my best friend and who has challenged me like psychologically and physically in the game to become better. And then circumstances change and you have to adapt. And that was the first day where I'm like, okay, the adaptation is there. And I'm fine now. I just needed that one day. And then we move on. But I almost feel like it gives me even more of a drive, because it's not just trying to represent the club now, it's what it has been before and how it's got to this point. So I'm like, there is no way in hell this team is, obviously you can't like predict the future, but even more trying to avoid relegation for everything that has gone into this team up until now. So but yeah, anyway, I was talking about Abby because Abby doesn't get the credit she deserves. I think we're quite different as people, Abby and I, but when it comes to understanding one another as people, she's up there with one of the most respected people I've probably come across in football on a personal note. So big up to Abby, but I'm not going to say it to her face. Well, actually, I have said it to her face once, and I'm not going to do it.
You'll just send her a link to this and be like, just skip to like the 17th minute.
Yeah. Oh God.
I think that's a huge credit to you as well, Ashleigh. Yes, it was an emotional day, but your performance level was so high as well. To kind of go through that emotion and still perform that well is a huge credit to you as well to getting through that.
I got to be honest as well. I actually don't even remember. Sometimes I can like reflect on my own performance and things, and I actually have no idea. Like I finished that game, and I was just glad I got the result. I just don't actually know how I did. So I appreciate that, but yeah, weird, but comes with the game, doesn't it? It was a cool experience. Like I always say again, I'm going off topic again. I'm so sorry for doing this, but this is what you get with me. We a couple of us were in the physio room, like some of the team, before, it was the day before the game because we stayed in the hotel, and I asked really random questions to the team if they come to my head. And I asked like some of the girls, like, if you had the choice, would you only experience like good emotion? So if we could only like, everybody doesn't like to feel sad or angry or whatever, but like if we had the choice, would we only want to feel the good ones, like being happy and stuff? And it was interesting hearing people's responses, because obviously the next day I obviously wasn't, not that I wasn't happy, but I was just very sensitive. And I'm like, I'm so glad I was able to feel that emotion, because you appreciate and get to reflect on why you feel like that and the reasons that have built up for you to, again, it all comes back to appreciation for me. But I'm going on a tangent, I'm so sorry. But yeah, again, can I ask you guys a question? I know it's your show, but can I ask you guys, if you had to only experience, would you only experience good emotions if you had the choice? There's no right or wrong. I'm just interested.
James, you want to go first? I need to think it through.
Putting you guys on the spot.
It's a really difficult one because you go through the bad to get to the good. And sometimes the bad feelings create the person that you are. So you learn lessons through the bad feelings. So I'm going to sit on the fence and say I don't know.
Okay, fair point. I like that though. I like that.
I thought I was so sure that you're going to say, oh, yeah, you have to experience everything. But then you're like, I don't know, especially with your explanation. I feel like, yeah, you'd want to experience the bad emotions to learn, like James said. But then also, like, with all the people around you and stuff, if you only feel good emotions, if someone around you is dealing with like bad emotions, how can you kind of like sympathize with that person, you know?
Come on. See, I haven't had
There you
anybody
go.
say that. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, so see, I think about others, I guess.
Yeah.
Put others before myself. I don't know.
Yeah.
But I'd feel bad if someone was like crying to me and I was just kind of like happy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
is the choice just for you, or is the choice for everyone? So you decide for everyone, so everyone has just good. Or is it just you as a person?
It was originally just for me, but I like how this has expanded.
it's like turning super philosophical.
Sorry, we've got a quick visitor from a girl.
Hello, it's the star from the Everton game.
Yeah, they were saying that how much they loved, like, so Hannah lives in Canada, so she's watching the stream, and she could hear the drum on the stream of the game, and everybody's been talking about it. So and I said, well, the only reason she did it is because I said I'll pay her, and then I was like, I haven't even paid you yet. So are you going to actually bring it to more games? Okay. Well, you've heard it here.
Yeah.
There we go. And Ash is going to be out of money.
Yes.
And now she's going to use the stream as well, and she's going to send it to you and say, go to the 20th minute and see that you said you'd pay me.
Yeah, literally.
That's awesome. I love that she came on. I would have not had the courage to do that personally.
She didn't want to. She was just on her hands and knees trying to get behind me.
We just hear her shuffling across the floor. You have cats, though, don't you?
So
or no?
We have one. I still can't get in my head that we have a cat, because I gotta be honest, I'm not really a huge pet person. Like, I like animals, I really do. Like, cows are my favorite animals. I really love cows, but I'm not like, I don't overly obsess over them. So when we got, her name's Priscilla, my cat. She's a Canadian Sphinx, actually. So she's hairless, which, yes, because I had the reaction that everybody has. I was like that when I was told we were going to get one. I was like, ugh, really? Like, so and then I met her and I was like, oh, so now she's part of the family. So I feel like I can say that she's gross, but you know, when people are like, when if somebody else says something bad about like a family member of yours, you can get protective, but you can say bad things about them. That's how I feel about Priscilla. Yeah. Like, people are always like, ugh. And I'm like, she's my cat. Only I can say she's gross, not you. Yeah. She's not gross. It takes time to get used to her.
Yeah. I only remember you saying you have a cat, because last time you were on the show, someone brought up the fact that I was Canadian, and you're like, oh, my cat is too.
Yeah.
I was like, cool. That's hilarious. Don't feel bad about having a hairless cat. We used to have a hairless Pomeranian. And a Pomeranian is not a breed that you expect to be hairless.
Oh, wow. I didn't even know that existed. I'm going to have to look those up now.
He had like a disease, so he lost all of his fur, but he only had it on his head. So he looked like a lion at all times. And we had to put like sweaters on him and stuff because he'd get so cold in the winter. Yeah. I'll have to send you a picture of him. He has like his own like little Christmas picture that I'll have to send to you.
Oh, that's actually so cute. Oh.
So we both had Canadian hairless pets.
Snap.
Yeah.
Feels like I'm missing out now.
You just have to get a hairless pet. There you go. Perfect. James is going to get a pet now. Your sister's going to get paid. And Abby's going to hear all the compliments he said about her. So.
Oh, no. This is my issue.
Just manifesting so much today. But I do have to ask, speaking on Canadian stuff, you were messaging me during the gold medal game. And the funny thing is I wasn't able to watch that game because I was working. Oh. And I'm still so mad at myself that I was working during that. Like, that sounds like such a bad excuse. Like, oh, I had to work during a gold medal game. But I was sitting there working, and then all of a sudden I see I have a message from you. And I was like, why is Ash messaging me? And you were like, I'm so nervous. And I was like, what's happening? Then I see I have like messages from tons of other people. I was like, what's going on? And I'm now like realizing that you played with Desiree Scott at Notts County, and you played in an FA Cup final alongside her. And we love Desiree here in Canada. She's on all of our Ritz cracker boxes. She's everywhere. We love her.
Yeah, you can't not. You literally can't. I played with her when I was like 16, and she's still exactly the same as she is now. And you know, when you have like young kids in the team, people don't really interact with them as much as they do with their own friends. But she's one of those people who came into the environment and was just happy, dancing about everywhere all the time. Like absolutely nothing to complain about, you know, just a breath of fresh air, just complete positivity. So yeah, wherever she is, I always just want to support her. So especially in that game, I was supporting Canada, but I was supporting Canada because I was supporting Desi. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah, I'll take it.
And you.
I was shocked that you were messaging me. I was like, oh, Ash is watching the game? And then I think I saw your tweet congratulating her. I was like, oh, now it makes more sense. But yeah, the Destroyer, Desiree the Destroyer. I love her.
Oh, yeah.
If you wanna like play agent for a bit, you can get Desiree to Leicester so that we can have a Canadian there.
That would be so cool. So cool. Okay, I'll get it.
Yeah, you're just gonna message her. Send her a link to this video at the 26th minute. You're just gonna be sending this to so many people now.
Gotta remember.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, phenomenal player. I was so happy that we won the gold medal. I wasn't expecting it, if I'm being completely honest. Like Sweden's a powerhouse. And then the fact that you're messaging me telling me we're on to penalties, I was like, I'm missing this. And Ash over in the UK is the one updating me on my own country right now. Oh. It was just a good time. That was so funny. Thanks for doing that, though.
Yeah, of course. So I hope I didn't ruin it for you. I was just too excited.
No, I was like peeking at my phone at like texts I was getting and like notifications throughout like my work. I'm not gonna say too much about my work. I don't want to get in trouble, but I was peeking a bit, yeah. But I had to bring that up. And you played in an FA Cup final at 16 years old.
So I got to warm up and everything. I didn't actually play, but
I thought you came on as a sub. I think that's what your Wikipedia says. I don't know.
I don't think. Did I? I don't remember. Okay, this is going to be really embarrassing, but I know I was there. That's what I remember.
Fair enough. You were at an FA Cup final. We'll say that. Do you remember who it was against?
Chelsea?
I think so.
Yeah.
That wasn't me trying to set you up. I also don't remember.
I remember Hannah Blundell being like close to me when I was warming up all the time. So this is when she was at Chelsea. So yeah.
There you go. So you remember some of it.
Yeah. That's crazy, isn't it? That's what I'm saying. Like I'm very much a person who I either think about like what I'm doing right in this very minute or what's next in the short term. So when I think about previous stuff, like I always talk about America a lot. When it comes to specifics of things, sometimes I forget. I just remember like the feeling of it. Like I actually had so with Brent coming in as well, I spoke to him about America because he actually visited me at USC while I was out there. And he brought up a couple of days ago that the conversation that we had. And when I first got out to America, it was really, really hard, like really hard. I struggled a lot just having to adapt to moving out there. And the football was different, education was different, all of it. And he came over at that point and he mentioned to me the other day the conversation we had and how I felt at that time. And you know, sometimes when you go through something that's that hard that you forget about it, it's almost like your mind tries to block it out. But he remembers that the things that happened in that conversation from 7 years ago, you know, that I've forgotten. But he knows everybody in women's football, but remembered that. I was like, wow. He was like, do you remember that conversation? I said, I remember speaking to you. I don't remember how much I was feeling sorry for myself in it, because he was like, you had to show a lot of resilience, didn't you? And I was like, well, obviously, because I must have made out like I was having an awful time.
It must be so weird having him around now.
Yeah.
If he was like, in the States at one point.
Yeah. He's exactly the same as when I knew him when I was younger. Like, communicates the same, same demeanour. But I like him a lot. I do. He's very wise guy, especially football-wise. Very switched on, knowledgeable, and a little bit like, because he's had so much experience and he's not like set in his ways, but he knows everything, like knows players' tendencies and the game inside out. It's like you can never pull the wool over his eyes. So with that comes a little bit of like not intimidation, but almost, and I like that a lot. I like it. I don't know. I do like him. Just different. It's funny, like when you have different coaches, their style and how their personalities brought into their coaching techniques. But again, all part of the game. It's cool.
I remember last time you was on, Ash, I think you just played in midfield for a game.
Oh,
yes.
One thing I wanted to ask was this season, I have seen you picking the ball up in defence and dribbling with it into midfield. So is there a midfielder trying to get out there, or is it defence?
Do you know what? That's also interesting, because when I was in America, I never, like, our style of play was never it was to get the ball and play, not to drive out. And then when I came back here, Jonathan always used to say to me, step out of the ball. And I was like, oh, okay. Like, do you know what I mean? Because I never was encouraged to do that before. And then the last, I don't know how many months, it's because of the way we're playing, I would then have a tendency not to do that again. And partly I put that down to my own like confidence as well. But even in training, like Brent said to me the other day, I had space in front of me and he goes, just drive into it, Ash. And I went and I was like, gosh, because when I was younger, I played as a winger. There's no way I could ever be there again now. Ever. I can't even believe I played there. But anyway, when I step out with the ball now, I'm like, gosh, I love this, because you just have like free range. And then I think defensively, it's hard for the other team because they don't actually know whether to step and press you or not. There is a big risk because obviously as a centre back, if you're stepping out and you lose it, then you're screwed. But I wouldn't go as far as the midfielders coming out. I'm not trying to step in Molly or Sam's or Shannon's or anybody's shoes at the minute. But yeah, as long as I'm going forward, straight line, I'm a straight line kind of player. You know, I don't have all that Charlie Devlin agility.
One day.
It doesn't have to be driving forward. I think it's great to see as a defender, and like you say, it's confidence. Probably the worry is if you lose the ball, then how quickly can you get back?
Yeah.
I mean, James, she's got long legs. I think she covers a lot more ground.
We had sprint testing the other day, and everybody, like, Tash was going to me. She was like, "Are you faster than Siggy?" I'm like, guys, it's so I've got long legs, but that doesn't mean that I'm fast. I'm like, there's no way I'm faster than Siggy. But people just think just because my legs are so long, I can get places quicker. Like, yeah, I'm not slow, but I think people are like, gosh, this girl can run just because my strides. Like Barks always says to me, she's like, Ash, you get everywhere 10 times quicker than me because like 3 of my strides is 1 of yours. I'm like, okay, I can imagine that. But then I'm like, well, that's exactly why I don't play in the middle, because everything's like turning like a bus, you know, like they can shuffle their feet about. I'd trip over my own feet if I did that.
But I mean, your headers, you barely even have to like leave the ground when you go for anything.
That is
I noticed that in one of the highlights. I was like, did she even jump?
That's another thing. I'm getting you into all my tricks in a minute, but because I struggle with my knees a lot, my actual like plyometric ability is a little bit skew whiff at the minute because it kills my knees. So I just have to make sure I time my headers perfectly, because I actually don't get that high off the ground. I just have to time it because I've got no spring in my knees at the minute.
It's always funny seeing you in the box because you were just above everyone else. Like, no matter who you're playing against, it's like you're just kind of floating above everyone.
Timing, honestly, all timing. I remember Remy would always like win headers in the middle. I'm like, how? She was like, Ash, timing. But you're so small. She's like, yeah. She actually said in training one time, she was like, I'll bat myself against Ash. I'll bat myself. And it scared me because I'm like, this will be the most embarrassing thing if Remy's going to win a header over me. I can't remember if she did or not, but If she did, I'd probably blocked it out of my memory.
It's another thing if she's going to forget.
Yeah.
I think when Hannah comes over, we have to have a photo with you two stood next to each other.
Yeah.
That's like that meme I posted. As soon as I saw like that picture of Shaq with Kevin Hart, I was like, that is absolutely how it would turn out. How tall are you though?
Last time I measured 5'10.5".
Okay.
Yeah, to be precise.
That is pretty tall. I'm like 5'6", so.
Oh wow! Do you know what's crazy? Because I always joke with my sister because she's taller than what I was when I was her age. So I feel like she's going to be taller than me, which I didn't even know that was possible. But
wow,
all
you have a
genes
tall
in this
family.
family. Yeah.
Not in mine, obviously. If I'm one of the tallest, nope. That's awesome. That must be so helpful though, just getting stuff off the shelves. I'm like picturing being in a store. Like if I had your height, that'd be so much easier to get my groceries.
But you got to see me when I bend down. It's ugly sight.
Well, you know what? I can't bend over. I got wicked back problems, so we're on the same level that way. But I don't have the height to make up for it. Sorry, I couldn't tell if James was jumping in there.
No, I was just trying not to laugh so much.
Just laughing at how small I am.
No, it's just that Ash says he was 5'10", and then you talk about shelves and things. I've not seen him 5'10". I've seen him about 8'3".
I mean, clearly I don't know what it's like to have height because I look up at that stuff and think it's 6 feet tall. But I guess I'm very wrong. So it's whatever.
So one thing we did want to talk about, Ash, was obviously Nigeria. What was it like when you got that call that you've been called up? That must have been a huge moment emotionally for you.
Yeah, it's it was something that I was thinking about when I was in America because my old coach brought it up to me. But what I say to people is at that time I was so focused. I wanted to put everything into like winning the national championship with USC. I was trying to like help with the culture change over there. I'm just somebody who, if I'm going to do something, I want to put everything into it. So out there wasn't really the time for it. I didn't feel like I was necessarily ready. And when I came back here, it was mainly last year where I was like, this is definitely something that I was considering, and I was thinking how important it is, not just like football wise. Like, yes, it's an absolute privilege to play for your country, but it's, for me, I play for different reasons, and I always try and relate why I do certain things to like my purpose and what makes me feel fulfilled and things like that. So I discussed it with my sister more so than any other person in my family. I know she's only 11, but it was something that I felt was important to do and to try out, because for me, like, our heritage is something that we haven't really delved into a lot, and I've noticed in the last year or two how important it is for myself and especially my sister to know more about our heritage, to go on the journey together. And when I got my first call up, this was the camp in Austria, I remember being like super nervous for it because everybody always says to me like, oh, are you excited? Are you excited? And my dad always says, like, my dad's very like emotional, and he was getting very excited for me going on the camp. He was like, Ash, you don't look excited, but it's just because I get nervous. So sometimes it's hard for me to seem excited because until I'm there, I'll get nervous about it and the unknown, you know. So my first camp there was good. Austria was good, and obviously it was, being in Austria, it's in Europe, so it's not that dissimilar. I didn't feel like anything was that unfamiliar, but what was unfamiliar was the culture I was in. So I have been exposed to Nigerian culture through my granddad, my family here, but I've been brought up very British. So being in that environment was so eye-opening to me, because I just would sit and like observe, like I would try and talk to like different players and things like that. But even like communicating with certain girls, it was just different to how we, as you know, like British or Canadian people, we would communicate. So that was interesting to me. And I think a very British thing to do is we analyze everything, and we're always very conscious about being polite and our manners and not being too intrusive. And Nigerians, they they just are so like more laid back than us. Like they'll say whatever they think. There's no like, what the big thing in this country is like, are people being honest? How can people really saying how they feel? You know, how do we know? Nigerians, they'll just tell you straight up. You know, there's nothing that they could possibly hide. If they're angry, they'll be angry at you. They're like, everything's based upon respect, and that was really cool to see, because again, it's just new for me. And one little thing is, we're queuing, like I'm waiting to get food, and I'm like standing there queuing up, you know, and then all these girls like, they just kind of like rush in and get, not because they don't know, like for us in this country, like you have to queue up because that's being considerate and things like that, but they'll just go and get their food. There's no queuing, you know, you get your food, you go sit down. And I remember standing there like, and I still didn't want to have to do that, because I know that's not what we do here. So I'm still waiting, and I'd always be like one of the last ones to get the food when I was in Austria, because I was like, oh, don't want to like barge in front of people. But again, that's not them being rude. That's just culture. Do you know what I mean? So there's so many things where I'm like, this is awesome, because this is a different way of living. And then when I went to, obviously I've just come back from a camp in Nigeria, well, my gosh, I felt like I was in, I kept saying to myself, saying to my friends and saying to my family, I'm like, oh my God, I'm in Africa. Like I've always wanted to go to Africa, but it's special. It's special because it's so different. And I felt very, you know, out of touch with how I was living here. But I was so consumed and allowed myself to be in that environment and just soak everything up. Like I didn't try and change who I was, but I also didn't try to like be like, no, I don't want to do that. I'll just be like, yeah, let's do it. You know, like I'm picking mangoes off mango trees, and, you know, trying different Nigerian food every night, even though it killed my stomach because my stomach is not used to it. I would try random stuff. I would, you know, try and dance with them when I cannot dance like they can. Or, gosh, there are just so many things. Like this is a big thing as well, where people here, I think there's so many privileges we have that you just don't realise. Like we had to hand wash our clothes while we were there. Never done that in my life. And I remember using body wash the first day, and I spoke to the physio. I'm like, is there any chance I could just get like a small bag of detergent? She got it for me. I've never been so appreciative of something like detergent in my whole life, you know. So and every night I would go and stand like in the bathroom with Addie plays for Watford. It was her first camp, and we would wash her clothes. And I said to her, I'm like, sure, I can do it for 7 days. I probably struggle doing it any longer than that. But when I was doing it, I was so like appreciative, because I'm like, I've gone throughout the whole day. I could reflect on my whole day while washing my training kit. It was just cool. And everybody, yes, like people say, you know, there's still advancements to be made. And there definitely are. Like with the organisation, there are things that they're still trying to improve and make better, and it will take time. It definitely will take time, but I had nothing to complain about, because I got an experience that I'll remember forever, and I've been able to come home and tell my sister this is what it's like, and then I'll get to take her out there, and you know, I've only been able to do that because of football, you know. So it was fantastic experience. The football side, again, is just, it's going to be an adjustment for me, because African football is totally different. Like there's a lot of European players who've tried to play African football and struggled, because it's just so different. Luckily, I see myself as quite like a physical player, so I didn't feel like out of my depth physically, but it's like the speed of the game is so much quicker, whereas so they can teach me things about, like, I have to catch up with them in terms of playing quicker, you know, like we're more tactical in terms of like we're playing a certain ball to a certain area for a reason, where sometimes they'll just think it's speed, and people have the assumption that it's not good, but some of these players played with are some of the most physical and actually technically gifted players I've seen, and a lot of them play in, there's a few that play in Nigeria, but a lot of them play in Europe, so they're getting a good standard of coaching, you know, like I haven't played with Asisat yet. Asisat Ashleigh, she plays for Barcelona, but I played with Rash, a girl called Rashida Ajibade, and she plays for Atletico Madrid. Again, she reminds me of like a Charlie Devlin, but just like this girl literally glides, you know, like I've never seen someone so technical, you know. So it's just the thing where I came in, I felt like I could potentially try and help with the girls is the tactical side, you know. So it's cool because when I'm at club, I still feel like I'm learning a lot. Like I look to the coaching staff, I look to the more senior players, and again, I'll bring up Abby. I look at her for you know, tactical and technical little nuances that I can improve in my own game. But then I've gone to Nigeria, and I feel like I can help with, you know, with some of the girls who are just coming through, because some of them are quite young. They have everything, like the whole package, to be really good, but now it's just almost like switching the brain on with in certain aspects to try and, you know, give them that extra advantage, you know. And because football, this is my one frustration I had out there, which was hard to get used to, was because obviously football is a team game, your positioning is affected by everybody else's. So if they were in a position that I wasn't used to having, if my left back is in a position that I'm not used to having, so Gemma Perfect and I, we have quite a good understanding of one another. And when I went out there, this girl, Joy, she was playing completely different to how Gemma normally plays. I'm not saying that she's wrong, but that completely changes my positioning. So there's a lot of like communication things that we have to try and not get over, but just have some kind of mutual understanding, because like her coach will say, no, this is right, and I'm wrong. I'm actually saying, well, it's not that I'm wrong, I just have a different opinion, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but everybody has to be on the same page if we're going to do that, you know. So just football, crazy is not one way to do it, but yeah. And again, I've spoken way too long, and the question, something about Nigeria, and I've forgotten it.
It's interesting to hear you say that, though, because I just recently spoke with Paige about her Jamaica debut, and she kind of said that it's completely different than playing in Europe, because now she's like a part of CONCACAF and like that whole thing, and like me being in Canada, obviously what I watch here is so different from what I see there. So hearing it from her as well as you saying like, oh, as players we see that too, it's like, oh, that's really interesting. And you guys have to kind of adjust, like you were saying, to these different like playing styles, and you go back and forth with it too. So it's like Paige was saying, like it's a bonus that you're able to adapt to both, because that kind of shows how good you are as a player and stuff. So that's interesting to hear that it applies to you as well.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think you can ever really stop learning, because even if you're in one environment and you've been in it for years and you are very experienced in it, you could go to a different environment, like Paige and I, for example, and people have been brought up all those years playing completely different. So can never, as they always say, you can never stop learning.
It's true. Oh, James, I can't hear you, but it might just be me. Oh, okay.
Just wanted to ask you, Ash, can you talk us through your initiation? Because it looked quite fun.
Well, that's something that, because when I got home, I knew when I got home everybody was going to be talking to me about it, and I'd never watched, because everybody was trying to show me videos. I'm like, no, I'm not watching it. I cannot see it. I cannot watch it. No. But I was nervous for it the whole time I was there, because I knew it was coming. And then what I did, this is something that I was aware of as well, is because like dancing in Nigerian culture is huge. So I knew that I was not going to be like them, because they were natural born dancers somehow. And I'm not. But people do know me too, like even at club, like I will dance around, not that I'm good, but just because I think it's fun. So I was like, okay, I have one option really, is just to go all out and have no inhibitions, and that's kind of what I did. And I did 2 songs because I wanted to bring like my British side and my Nigerian side together. And people know me here that people are so bored of it now. I've done it too many times, but my like karaoke song is It's Raining Men. So I performed that. And then I did like a very traditional Nigerian song, which my granddad would always play. And just combined them together, and everybody, I think there was not one person in that room who was not laughing at me, but I just had to take it and just laugh with them, even though they were laughing at me, not with me. So yeah, that was that.
It seemed like everyone loved it though, so
yeah, well, I don't know if it was for the right reasons, but
you did better than I could ever do, so just keep that in mind.
Talking of dancing, a little person tells you like to bop.
I like to what, sorry?
Bop, as she called it.
Who was this?
Your stepmom said that you do like to dance.
Oh, no, of course you did. Of course. You want to meet somebody else who talks more than me? Joe is definitely one. And that is very funny that she said that, because she is the dancer in our house, because she dances the best, and she dances more than anybody else in our kitchen. Yeah. Wow, bop. Do you know what? That's almost like, I'm not going to be offended by that, but bop doesn't even sound like dance, and I can imagine her saying that because she's saying bop because she knows I can't dance. I get it. You know what? I'm going to have a word with her when I'm done.
So a lot of people are going to have to bring stuff with after this, seems like.
This show has become a catalogue of evidence.
Yeah. We got stuff from Emil. We got stuff from you. We got stuff from everyone. The last time we spoke on the show, you mentioned that your sister was speaking some of the Nigerian languages and you were wanting to learn. Is it like Igbo or Yoruba? Which one? Or
oh, nice.
Both?
Yeah.
I study languages as part of my degree, so it's
oh, cool.
Yeah.
My family's Yoruba, so Bailey's been learning Yoruba. I can't really be like, yeah, I know a lot. Bailey knows more than me. And then when I was out in Nigeria a couple of weeks ago, in the evening I would go and spend time with the physio. So I'd always get treatment in the evening, and we would end up just having chats about everything and anything. And she would try and teach me like Yoruba sayings or words or things like that, but everything's very much like, when you're first learning a language and it's like, hello, my name is, like, I'm kind of at that level, so and I also just can't, I don't have like a Nigerian twang, when people try and speak. There's my brother, my brother he's learning French and Spanish at the minute, and I'm like, go on then, tell me something, and he's like, je m'appelle. And I'm like, okay, you've got to put some kind of French twang on the things that you're saying, because, so that's kind of where I'm at. But I will be better. I mean, when I was getting taught by the physio and one of the captains, and they just kept laughing at me because when I was pronouncing things, everything was so, like, they speak quite fast, what I think is quite fast, but I'm obviously like separating each word, and I'm really slow. But I'll get there at some point. I'll be able to, I don't know if I'll be able to have a conversation, but if I just have some kind of understanding, that'll be good enough for me.
You'll get there. I've heard it's a really hard language to learn, especially Yoruba. Yeah. So props to you for trying to learn it, because I've seen like videos of, there's that one guy on YouTube who just knows a million languages, and he went to like a Nigerian like village in New York or something and started speaking to them in like Igbo and Yoruba. I was like, how did you learn that so fast?
Yeah.
You can tell everyone there too was like, how do you know this?
Yeah.
But it's so hard to learn. You have to practice with your sister.
Yeah, I know. She makes
Pay her for lessons as well.
Yeah. Gosh.
Ash, we all know that you're a professional footballer, but is there anything your sister can't do?
She's genuinely thinking about it.
Do you know what? She'll hate me for this. She can't jump. That's probably tastes after me.
You
Like
can't jump.
last summer, yeah, that sounds really silly, but I've got videos. I'll see if I can send you guys videos. I put it on my Instagram actually because it was just hilarious. Like we were at a friend's house and her and her friends were like running and then trying to jump in the pool. She can't get off the ground. Like literally, I think it's because she's so tall. Like it's. And I have the same issue. Like I know that's how I know she's my sister, because our legs are too long for our body. And she played basketball. Luckily, she never really had to jump because she stopped playing quite recently, actually. But because she's that tall, it kind of helped her out. So again, she didn't really need to jump. But yeah, this girl let's say she probably couldn't do certain athletic events like high jump, long jump. Yeah. I needed to find
She's
something.
sitting outside the door just listening to you saying this right now.
Yeah, she definitely is going to be hearing me.
You were like, I can't believe you told everyone that I can't jump.
Yeah.
Oh well, she's good at everything else, so it makes up for lack of jumping. Just kind of, I'm looking at the time. Holy moly, I didn't even realize how fast it flew by. Obviously, you have Arsenal on Sunday, and Arsenal are coming off of losing the FA Cup final, and then the Barcelona game yesterday. How are you feeling going into that?
Yeah, I think this week's been our first like official week with Lydia and Brent, and they haven't come in trying to like completely change everything. You know, they've wanted to. They actually spent time last week just observing us, you know, and seeing what they wanted to make changes. It's nothing. It's not been really a difficult transition in terms of that, because everything else is pretty similar. It's not like we're having to use this week to adapt. So yeah, we're going into the game actually just feeling good, obviously because of the Man U game, and we've had a nice week, to be honest. Like training's been good. We had a nice team bonding event on Wednesday, which involved a tech ball tournament and head tennis. So there was like 3 player teams, and then there was a staff team. I can't remember. The staff must have lost, but a lot of the staff got involved. And at one point, Baxter he tried to get involved and he was getting in the way of the head tennis tournament. Yeah, so we all feel good and ready for it. And obviously, it's a game where people are going to be looking at it because it's like top versus bottom, but we're going into it with absolutely nothing to be fearful of, really. You know, everything's new for us at the minute, and everybody's just in a really good headspace. So, should be a good one, and hoping it's not going to be too cold because it's in the evening.
Meanwhile, I'm thrilled that it's in the evening.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting. I think it's kind of a hard one to look at from a supporter perspective because, you know, Arsenal are coming off of these 2 huge losses. Their confidence could be low, or they could be like, okay, we got to get back up. But then you guys are coming off of beating Manchester United. So you guys are like kind of on like a bit of a high right now. Like, I'm assuming, I don't know. I'm not a player, but you know, like you guys, either both teams could be going in with full confidence, or Arsenal could kind of just be like on like a bit of like that downside, because it's like, you know, they are used to winning so much, and now they've kind of been served these dishes of losing. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it goes. I still have full faith in you guys, as I always do, and every single week we see like such strong performances, and we're like, they're getting the points, they're coming, and that's what you guys keep saying too. So it's going to be an exciting game.
You guys must be bored of us saying that, but we're not just saying, because we generally we have team meetings and we actually say like, gosh, it is coming. But now it's just like, there was one time where it was like, I can't remember which game it was, but we came off the pitch and it was one where it was close. It was either like Brighton or Everton or something like that, and we all came off and we were like, gosh, we're so fed up of having to say that now because we are getting there, but we just want the points so bad.
I think it was the Brighton game.
Yeah.
Because it was like that free kick in like the 89th minute or something.
Yeah.
We were all just like, nope. I remember going on a tangent on Twitter about the ref.
Yeah.
I was not happy.
Oh, yeah. Don't make me comment.
I won't. I'll stay quiet. I'll stay quiet. But yeah, I think it was especially after the Chelsea game that we were like, okay, like, yeah. They're absolutely here. So.
Mm-hmm.
I think after that Brighton game, we proved on our show that it was a fluke, didn't we, Hannah?
Yeah, we had like a whole like analysis. Like James went full out like analyst mode. He had graphics and everything. I was just sitting there.
I can so imagine that, James.
It was like I was like, I'm not having that was a good goal. So we proved it was just a fluke and just crossed it, and the wind took it in. That's what we went with, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It was a ref, yep. But that's funny though, because James is at these games and stuff, and then I'm sitting like posting Twitter tangents instead of actually being there. But it's okay. Soon.
Fine. One random question I've got for you, Ash, which somebody asked me and I don't know the answer. Why do professional footballers cut their socks?
Good question, because I don't do it. I think it's because some people, because we train, this is the only thing I can guess really, because we train in like short, like white Adidas socks. So people like to have those because they're like more comfortable or something. So they'll wear those for games as well. And sometimes people find like matchday socks give them blisters, especially if they're like new and they haven't worn them.
Okay.
Is it Jess that does that?
Sorry?
Is it Jess that does that?
Yeah. So she has a hole in the back. She always makes like a hole in the back of her socks as well. That's all about.
I just found it really. I think it was the Man United game at home at the King Power. We was in the shop and there was some young girl wanted some socks so she could cut them, and her parents were like, "I'm not buying them just so you can cut them."
Yeah.
I just find it really kind of strange around. Some people cut them, some people don't. But now you've kind of explained it, it kind of makes sense. Comfortable wise.
Yeah.
Because I know that you always pull yours over your knees, don't you?
Yeah. I did that in America and kind of didn't stop after that. I think at one point I thought it would stop me getting all these scars and stuff over my knees, but it makes no difference whatsoever, because if you do fall, then they just roll down.
You're probably realizing now like all the things that us fans just notice that you would not expect.
Yeah.
What about, speaking of socks, why are the pink ones so bright? Like when you guys walk out on the stream, I'm like, oh my god, like, I'm gonna blind the opposition with those.
Very good question. Yeah, I don't know. I think they maybe look even more bright because the kit's like grey, you know?
Mm-hmm. Probably.
Or we just have a really good kit man who does the washing very well.
That's true. Should we hop to the playlist question, James? I'm seeing, like, I did not expect this to go for an hour. Thank you, Ash. I hope we're not taking up like your time or anything.
That is my fault.
Oh, we got the Memphis stuff. James, do you want to kind of cover that real quick?
Yeah. Yeah. So we were going to do a Q&A with the women's team. Unfortunately, we cancelled it due to ticket sales. I don't think COVID helped us because there was a new outbreak, and a few people messaged me saying, is it still going ahead? And they were quite nervous about going.
Right.
So we are looking at doing it in the new year, which I think is the right thing to do. But I think the night will be better than ever now. We're looking at doing it at the weekend, possibly in March. Obviously depends on what fixtures you guys have got. So anything to add to that, Ash? Because I know myself it's going to be an amazing night.
Yeah. So when we were trying to push it before we had to make the decision of it being postponed, I was in Nigeria and I was like, kept saying to my roommate, but she was fed up of hearing me say it. I was like, I just don't know what else to do. I'm like, I can share it. I made that video, but I'm like, I don't want to when you sometimes get worried about bombarding people with the same thing, that almost because I've seen it so much, they actually stop reading it. So yeah, it was a bit disappointing, but it's something that, because there's so many things that is going to be involved on the night, I think it will be so good. Like, I actually need to update you, James, because I've got a fair few raffle prizes that are actually quite good. Like, one guy gave me I gave him like a Nigerian jacket at his charity raffle, and he gave me a Amazon Echo thing, one of those. So prizes are very good, so things like that. It will make it all a really nice night. And we have a lot of girls as well for the Q&A. Like, everybody was just like, yeah, we'll do it. And everybody kind of wants to be involved. We actually had a few, so like my family were going to come, and then we have family friends coming. We had quite a few people who, like I said, that's the issue though, because people were like, yeah, I'll come, but then they didn't get the tickets. But you know what, the longer we have now, I think, to promote it, when hopefully again COVID can be in a better place by March, and maybe even when the weather's cheering up a bit, and that will make it a little bit more enticing. But I think because it's not common to do things like this, like, you don't see many of the women's teams being able to directly interact with fans, and even if they did, whether the club would allow it, that's another thing. So it's a good opportunity for anybody. And I know things like that don't even have, like, whether it's a football quiz or whatever, people just want to be doing things in the minute. So I think it'll be a really, really good night with a lot of things and a lot of good food. I know the food is very good, by the way. A lot of good food involved.
Yeah, so I think we'll get the date out as soon as we confirmed it, and then we'll start advertising it and get as many people there as we can, because I know it'll be a great night. And then hopefully Ash can confirm who's going to be there as well.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll fly out there. I don't know.
There was talk of you joining by Zoom via some kind of satellite link.
Yeah, I feel like that'd be super weird if I was just on like a projector. I'm sure a lot of people there would have no idea who I am. If not everyone. It'll be fun though.
One last thing, Ash, before we let you go, because we've taken up far too much of your time, no doubt. We've decided to create a playlist this season. So all of our guests have selected a song to go on the playlist.
Ooh.
What song would you like to go on the playlist?
Has it got to be themed? Do you know what I mean? Like, is it meant to be like a pre-match playlist kind of one, or like a meaningful?
You're the first person.
I think everyone's just throwing out everything.
Okay. My song at the minute is a song called Bigger by Beyonce. I think it's on the Lion King soundtrack, because I think the lyrics are very powerful and they resonate with me quite a lot, because it talks about being something bigger than what you are, basically. But you can figure that out when you listen to it. It's quite a powerful song.
That's great. We should add that on. Do you remember what Emil put on there, Hannah?
I think he did Summer of '69.
Really? Oh,
I think that was him. Or did he do No Diggity?
No, I think he did No Diggity.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I always get him mixed up with someone else.
Yeah, that's definitely an Emil. Emil and I actually have very similar taste in music. Like, we talk about music a lot, because I always say I was born in the wrong era, because I love like old school, like 90s R&B soul stuff, which is kind of like what he would listen to when, if he went out as a professional footballer. I don't know, but yeah. So when you say Summer of '69, I'm like, he's lying to you.
Talking of Emil, he did come up with a great stat, which might not be true. Nobody's ever confirmed it, that he doesn't get nutmegged in training.
I've never seen him get nutmegged, to be fair.
Well, we know
That's-
Ash isn't doing it.
Did he say that stat himself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Of course. No, he doesn't actually. He doesn't. Yeah, he scores good goals in training. That's what he does.
I think that's going to be your mission now, Ash, to nutmeg him.
Yeah, okay. Okay, Ash. Trying my best.
I feel like we're giving that mission to everyone now.
Somebody's going to have to do it, aren't they?
I think he said that Charlie would say that she has, but she hasn't.
Right, yeah. Definitely a Charlie Devlin move, yeah.
Well, that's why it'd be great if you did it, because he won't be expecting it.
Yeah. Okay.
We'll get an update from Ash in the middle of her training one day. That'd be perfect. Well, I think we've taken up enough of Ash's time. James, is there anything else you're wanting to?
No, I think this has been a brilliant show. That we have gathered quite a lot of evidence.
No.
That we can send to various people, especially your sister and Abby. But as always, Ash, it's been brilliant to have you on. Thanks for coming on.
No, thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much, especially for taking all of this time. And I'll do the plugs before we end, because I always forget the plugs. This is where I struggle at the end of the show. The Leicester City Women's Supporters Club are a great group. You should sign up for them if you haven't already. I think the pinned tweet on their Twitter is still the sign up form. It's just a Google form. It takes 2 seconds, and you can sit with Joe and James at games in their special section at the King Power. So do that.
You can hear Bayer drum at the game.
So why not sit with them, sign up? We have a lot of stuff that we're trying to sort out. So it's this exciting season. Her Game 2 are a great campaign. You can check out all of their stuff on their socials. And then Memphis are an amazing charity. I'm sure Ash can say the same thing. So check out all of their stuff on their socials. They have a lot of awesome social events, as well as who doesn't love raising awareness for a good cause. So check them out. And I think this is the first time I managed to point out everything correctly on the first try. So usually I'm struggling. But yeah, thank you so much, Ash, for coming on. And thank you everyone who watched. And James, is there anything else you want to?
No, I'm just quite proud of you for pointing in the right direction to our logo that you usually get.
I know.
Well done.
I'm getting used to it now. The flipped cameras,
Mm-hmm.
I've figured it out. Awesome. Well, thank you again, Ash, and thank you to everyone again for watching. And we'll probably see everyone after the Arsenal game. We might disappear again. I don't know. We've been on a bit of a hiatus, but I guess we're back. So you'll probably see us after the Arsenal game on Sunday. And best of luck to you on Sunday, Ash.
Thank
and
you.
everyone on the team.